r/NoSleep. Posted by u/horror, junkie123. I'm a freshman at a small university. My roommate broke one of the rules. Part 3. 1998? That couldn't be right. That was about 25 years ago. Despite the year, there was no mistaking it. The kid in the photo was definitely Bryson. I continued to flip through the scrapbook. I started to notice a pattern in all of the pictures that made my heart ache. In every one of the photos, Bryson seemed genuinely happy. Happier than I'd ever seen him in my short stint at the university. He looked so vibrant. So full of life. Whereas now, it was evident that whatever light had once gleamed in his dull, sullen eyes had been snuffed out long ago. I continued to flip through the pages, studying the dates that were scrawled beneath the images. November 1998. February 1999. April 1999. And that's where they stopped. I couldn't find anything past April of 1999 in the entire scrapbook. What really happened all those years ago? I was snatched from my reverie by the ding of a student ID being accepted by the door. I hurriedly slammed the book closed and slid it back to its cobweb palace. I flew back to the bed I'd slept in the night prior just as Bryson pushed open the door. "Hey! I see you're awake." "Yeah, I was just leaving," I said, pretending to tie my shoe. "Thanks for letting me crash here. You're a real one." "Yeah, don't mention it." "Oh, and by the way," he said, marching up to me, "I found your textbook. I don't think it'll be of much use to you now, though." He pulled what was left of my chemistry book from behind his back and dropped it on the ground before me. It had been reduced to a tattered mess of shredded pages clinging loosely to a crumpled spine. I sighed. To be fair, he had warned me. "Thanks, I guess. I owe you one," I muttered, scooping up the ruined heap and trudging toward the door. "Hey, Clayton." I froze in place, spinning to face him. "What's up? You didn't happen to look under the bed, did you?" Shit. How did he know?" "And no, why do you ask?" I sputtered, trying my best to not to look guilty. Bryson glared at me, his cold, icy gaze sending dread pumping through my veins like venom. "I'll take your word for it. This time. Now, get out." I didn't stick around. I bolted back to my room before I remembered the whole reason I'd ended up in that predicament in the first place. I didn't have my student ID. Having the guy at the front desk come let me in was a fuckload of fun, but I won't bore you with the details. Due to my little mishap, by the time I arrived to class, I was a whopping 5 minutes late, and the professor had locked me out. Great. Looks like I won't be needing a new chemistry book after all. Not after getting a big fat 0 on my first exam. Needless to say, my day had gone to shit. By the time I arrived back at my dorm room, I'd had enough. I opened the door to find Josh lying on his bed. He grinned at me smugly as I shuffled into the room. "Thanks for leaving last night, man. That girl gives some of the best head on campus." "Yeah. And thank you for answering the damn door, asshole. Either you sleep like a brick, or you were hoping to stumble across my mutilated corpse this morning." "Wait. What? I didn't hear anyone knocking. I thought you were spending the night in a friend's room or something." "Look, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have blown up at you. Last night I fell asleep in the common area, and when I woke up, the janitor was practically breathing down my neck. And on top of that, I forgot my student ID in the room, which left me fucked with a capital F. Geez, bro. How'd you get out of there?" "Shit, and I thought my encounter with the supernatural sucked." Bryson let me crash in his room. "Wait. What encounter? Was it Clarissa? She's a real creepshow." "Nah, this was the guy in the laundry room. You know, the one we have to listen to or else? Screw that. He can suck a fat one." I watched as a spark of defiance swept across Josh's green irises. I couldn't believe it. He knew better. Why would he do something so blatantly reckless? All the color drained from my face. No, Josh had to have been pulling my leg. You're joking, right? You didn't actually disobey him, did you? You know damn well what'll happen if you did." "Look man, I'm sick of this shit. Why should I have to conform to that guy's every whim? He's been dead for like 100 years. So what if I didn't give him a nickel for the laundry machine? He's not gonna crucify me for it. Whatever punishment he has in store, I'll be fine." "Nothing we can do now, I guess," I began, a knot forming in my stomach. "I sure hope you're right." Josh wasn't in his bed when I awoke the following day. That wasn't out of the ordinary, though. He'd signed up for classes last minute, so he got stuck with a couple 8 a.m.s. Kudos to him for that. I certainly couldn't do it. I didn't start to worry until that evening. Josh would hang out with friends after class every once in a while, but he usually at least filled me in on where he was going if he didn't take me with him. We hadn't known each other for long, but I'd really warmed up to the guy. I was an introvert, so naturally, Josh was one of the only friends I'd made. I couldn't bear the thought of something happening to him. After hours of deliberation, I decided to shoot him a text message. I didn't want to come off as a helicopter roommate, but I needed to know that he was okay. "Hey bro, everything good? Just checking in. Haven't heard from you today." Josh hadn't responded by the time I laid down in bed. At that point, about 5 hours had passed, and needless to say, I was anxious. I had a sinking feeling that whatever was going on had a direct correlation to the man in the laundry room. When Josh didn't show up for the next 2 days, I knew that I needed to investigate. I couldn't just sit around and do nothing while he was potentially in danger, or worse. Kara was my first unfortunate victim. I don't know why I thought she'd be any help at all, but I had to give it a shot. "Hey, I'm looking for my roommate. Have you seen him, by chance? About 6 feet tall, brown hair, green eyes, kinda goofy looking? His name is Josh Matheson." "No, I haven't," she replied, her eyes perpetually glued to her screen. All the while, Clarissa sat motionless in the chair beside her. That demented smile was still pasted to her lips, and her black, soulless eyes bore into my chest like a power drill. How Kara put up with her that often, I will never know. "Gee, thanks a lot, Kara. Always willing to lend a hand, huh? Well, can you look him up in the system? Maybe see if he's swiped into the building in the last few days? Come on, I'm desperate here." Kara sighed, glancing up from her phone. "No, I'm not at liberty to share that information. If you've exhausted all other options, file a report with the campus police. They should be able to help." I mentally facepalmed myself. Why hadn't I thought of that? Surely they'd be able to find some answers. "Thanks, Kara. I'll try that." "Yep, whatever." A creeping feeling washed over me as I walked away. I didn't think Kara knew anything about Josh's whereabouts, but something told me that Clarissa did. I hurried over to the police station. Long story short, they were zero help. The officer who took my report basically laughed me off. His best guess was that Josh was on a 2-day bender and had lost his phone. I could smell cheap booze on the guy's breath, too. What an ass. I felt defeated. Kara couldn't help, and the campus police were a joke. My roommate was missing, and nobody seemed to care. I finally had to confront one of the only options I had left. I really didn't want to have to interact with the supernatural any more than I had to. But I didn't have a choice. I'm not sure how long I waited in the laundry room. I plopped down into the flimsy blue plastic chair that sat against the wall, waiting for who knows what. I'd never seen the laundryman before, and I had no idea how to purposely find him. Hell, I wasn't even sure if it was possible. But I had to try. I could feel my eyelids growing heavy. Between my lack of sleep and the low hum of the washers and dryers, I was inevitably lulled off to dreamland. I tried my best, but in all honesty, I never stood a chance at staying awake. "Hey kid." I was jolted back to reality by the sound of man's voice. It was rough and gravelly, like he'd been smoking cigarettes since the age of 5. My eyes shot open, and they immediately darted around the room, searching fervently for the voice's owner. But I couldn't find anyone. "Hey kid." Then suddenly, I saw him. There was a man standing in the corner to my right, leaning against the white brick wall. An outdated bowler hat obscured his face from view. His outfit was replete with a brown blazer, khakis, and a pair of sleek, black shoes. With my lack of historical knowledge, you could have told me that was Frank Sinatra, and I would have been none the wiser. My brows furrowed in confusion. I could have sworn that I'd looked there. It was as if the man had just materialized. "Hey kid," he repeated a third time. "Hey dude," I replied, standing from the uncomfortable kiddie chair. "That ain't a respectful way to speak to your elders," he said, meeting my gaze. His eyes glowed red, paralyzing me with fear. Sorry. That was rude of me. I'm willing to look past it. If you do something for me," he grinned, a wicked smile inching across his lips. Yeah, what do you want?" "Gimme a nickel. I got laundry to do." I stared at him blankly. "How long has it been since you've used these? It costs $1 now." "Look, kid. I ain't in the mood to negotiate. If you want to give me $1, fine by me. Hand it over." I took a cautious step forward, producing my wallet from my back pocket. I sighed when my eyes landed on the contents within. "Here. I've only got a 5, I said, slapping a crumpled bill into the man's outstretched hand. "Thank you kindly. If that's all you gotta say, I'll be taking my leave." "Wait." The man cocked his head to the side like a curious dog. "Did you really just interrupt me? Never do that again. Do you hear me? Fucking prick. What was so important that you felt the need to cut me off?" I shamefully met his burning stare. "Sorry. I came here to ask about my roommate. He's been missing for a few days, and I was hoping you might know something." The man twirled the $5 bill between his fingers, his visage melting into a pleased smile once again. "I don't answer to no one, but I'll make an exception just this once, on account of your generosity. What did the kid look like?" I released a breath I hadn't known I'd been holding. For a second, I thought I was going to end up as nothing more than a dash of blood on the linoleum. "He's about 6 feet tall, brown hair, green eyes. His name is Joshua. He said you asked him for a nickel a few days ago, and he refused." "Oh, yeah, I remember him. Kinda goofy looking, right?" "Yeah. That's him." That malicious smile returned to his face. The man's eyes burned bright with elation. I felt a chill ripple down my spine at the sight. "If I were you, I'd check the vending machines." And with that, the man turned and faded into thin air.